your help to win this battle. Let's go.
Come on, Storm. Back to work.
Look, hurry, okay? People are dying. See you down there.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm.
All right, now I'm seeing like catch my family, and welcome to another mousing broadcast here. I am with the one and only Mr. Sean Bond. Sean, what's going on, brother?
Hey, brother, how are you? Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, dude. Hey, what's your hair secret? Listen, everyone wants to know how do you get the Jesus hair? Everyone, I mean, all the salons are asking how are we doing that? You got
Just let it hang loose. You know, it's free.
That's probably exactly what Yeshua would say. He's like, hey, I just kind of let it hang loose. I let it do its thing. No, but we are, man, we're getting ready for this conference, and it is nuts. The amount of people that are now coming in, it's really starting to pick up steam. And I wanted to, also really disclose my brother here, Mr. Sean Bond. We did an interview before, but, we just kind of just touched the surface of, not only what you do at the Psionic League, but really, your path, how you learn these skill sets. And, when we talk on the phone, the whole truth is that many of us have gone through crazy trials and tribulations to be able to learn how to do some of these techniques. It's not like, it's almost like the universe has to show you why you need to shield before you go, hey, how do I shield? Or how, what is astral projection? You have to open your mind up to the concept of why you might want to need to learn something, or what are some of these concepts. And it's really important, now more than ever, as, I guess let's just say certain powers that be and the powers that were, it's almost like someone kicked the hornet's nest. So a lot of the light workers and light warriors on the planet, we're having to work double duty. And I'm sure you are too. Especially these last 90 days. I talked to Tone about that in our last interview. It's really, the speed has really picked up. And I wanted to also share an insight that came through last night for everyone with this bifurcation, with where we're going and where we were, similar to, where we were astrologically back in the 1861 to 1863, when Abe Lincoln was about to become president and the South seceded. When David Palmer spoke about that, the main thing for me, what clicked was the end of debt slavery. So what I'm trying to say is, how do you unwind 100 years plus of this sort of financial control, these powers on this planet? So what I'm trying to say is, if you guys are feeling strange right now, here's the visual. As of last night, this is what it feels like. I feel like, there was a fissure in the ground. There's like a big earthquake. There's that big fault line out there in California. Well, you can kind of step over that fault line, and you have been able to for quite some time, right? It's a fault line, But this is what I feel is happening right now. I feel like the fault line is moving, and the separation is, like, that gap is getting wider and wider and wider, and pretty soon you're not going to be able to jump across it. is what I'm getting to. I feel like there is a separation there. It could be belief system, it could be vibrationally, and we're trying to give guys a visual. Like, yeah, walk up to the side of a big fissure and look across, and you know, all the way up till about 2017, you could just step across that fissure. Now it's like that gap is widening, and all of a sudden, people are on one side of the cliff going, "I don't know if I can make that jump." You know what I mean? That's kind of beyond what I can launch. And then they kind of go into fear. My whole point with us, in general, is to show people that they don't need to be in fear, to show people that every single day is a great opportunity to change your life, and to just know that your body and our energy is feeling these things, but sometimes it doesn't really show up in the physical, but energetically and in all dimensions above this one, probably and below. There are many drastic changes happening on planet Earth. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of new discoveries where light workers are finding our ancient heritage and are finding our history and literally digging it up. You know, Sean, did you want to talk about some of the things that have been recently discovered out there? And can we say the location?
Oh yeah, I can show you that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in Mexico, near Mexico City. There's a bunch of pyramids. Various alien artifacts that have been carbon dated by a friend of mine named Mike, from various places that we got them from. Some being around 1,000, 10,000, 18,000. The oldest one, 19,000, I found, years old with carbon dating. And I got some footage for your audience so that we can break through any matrixy attachment to people's ego boundaries. If you want, I can do a share screen on that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
Let's see here.
Hey, but before you do, why don't you pull it out?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Yeah. Let's start with small. There we go. Okay, so you guys found that out there in Mexico.
Oh yeah. We got interaction with people at dig sites, and we're there on site and witnessing them being unearthed ourselves. So it just breaks through that barrier, because I used to think this stuff was like fake. I used to see these things around, and I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not. Doing it myself, meter down.
We'll show that. People want to see that pointed little cone. Yeah. Let's get a nice little. So, what is that symbol on his forehead? Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And he's got on an athame, which is a spiritual knife that isn't supposed to touch blood. It's for opening doors, portals, and cutting cords, like in detachment ceremonies. And there's a pyramid eye and two symbols of like wind, and so it's like interaction with.
Do you think these artifacts are specifically some of the locations where maybe the Maya talk about it? I know there's different ET species where they actually came down and took a large part of their people off the planet before the last reset or the great catastrophe happened, and that what people are finding with the ground penetrating radar over South America, especially Mexico south into South America, that's middle of America, right? And then there's South America. But they found these huge temple complexes that literally could have housed millions of people, and there's no bones, there's no bodies. Mm-hmm. So back to the Hopi prophecy, I didn't know this, but we found out later that the same DNA that is in the Hopi, they have the same DNA as the Maya. And during that last cataclysm, probably before the last flood, there's stories in Hopi prophecy of the ant people showing up and taking the Hopi underground. And that's part of their lineage. That's part of their story. So it's interesting you are finding these artifacts, right? And what do you think the time is on these? What do you think the timeline is of some of these artifacts? So we can try to kind of track 1,000 years ago. Some are 1,000, some are a couple thousand, some are even older. So what is the time frame of the artifacts you found?
Right. So it's kind of a mix-up in archaeology, and there's also a subject called forbidden archaeology, which more goes into this subject. And I'll like share my screen so people have something to watch, so they can like break through their ego boundaries with it. Can you see this image? This video, hello?
Yeah, I can see it. It's on.
Okay, cool. So, but yeah, the times on when they say civilizations happened and when the pyramids were built, very all over the place. Don't really match up. Kind of being contested a bit, so they don't really want.
Ooh, ET.
So there's an ET with wings right here as an example on this ceremonial cup, being uncovered under a tree with roots a meter down. The dates are kind of messed up, so I think they're trying to control a narrative on how human civilization is been playing out. So a lot of cultures, like Native American cultures, say that they didn't build the pyramids; they inherited them. They just walked into them. So there's like ancient ones. I've found people that say with LiDAR they're discovering over 10,000 plus pyramids in Meso and South America alone. And that's crazy to me that there's that many. Because like we're lazy as a civilization to where we can't even build a few. Like what kind of civilization is this to where they build over 10,000? And so there's all these artifacts of these supposed deities that they venerated that could have been involved in that. And there's more and more proof of that, though that's being covered up. These are some of the artifacts of the team I'm working with. Turned some of them over to a museum in Mexico, and they said they would not share them. They would not put them on display. They would put them in the basement. So it's an unfortunate thing that we got going on with this. I think I also will show like some of the artifacts below right here. So here's the
Wow. That is amazing.
Con poquito,
UV light.
esa lámpara, por ejemplo, si la sacas al sol, la dejas una hora y te dura como.
Yeah, I got one of them. Well, I got actually quite a few that glow in UV light. So it's kind of bright in here, so I can't exactly show it on camera.
So I wonder if that's Uberlite.
What's Uber light?
Uberlite is a stone that they found, I believe, up in Michigan. But if you hit it with a black light, it glows. It's called Uberlite. So it seems like there was some sort of technology that they knew about. And the thing with the pyramids, for me, it's very simple. I believe that there was a technology that has been covered up, especially during Tartaria, which is basically pulling energy from the ionosphere, the etherically, and that these pyramids were diodes into that planetary structure of power. So I think when you were saying, I can't believe they built so many. Well, they would if you knew that those pyramids equaled a power plant. Would you build a power plant that could pull down energy for the people around in the area? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you're like, whoa, now I get it. There's 20 pyramids per this area. Is what was generating the power? How was that used? And I think it's a very more practical thing than what they're trying to explain to us with the religious or a dogmatic function. Rather, it is seen as maybe an iconosphere generator. They already said that in Giza, right? The people that really studied it, they said it's almost like an engine. There's could be a plasma engine, a hydrogen engine. There was something to it that it was actually an engine or a powerhouse. Power plant.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah, because then it would make sense. Like, okay, you got 1 million people. Okay, well, how many power plants do you need? And what's the range of each? Here's one pyramid going up. Well, what's the range around that pyramid to actually power anything in that place? Now, whether it be, we also have images of those old light bulbs. Remember in the Pyramid of Giza, they got those old light bulbs, and they got like a looks like a filament inside that's powered. And especially with the Tesla, anything with the Tesla machine or, what he built, you could walk away from that Tesla tower and you could light up an LED bulb. So maybe they were using different types of
tower. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they were doing different types of stones that lit.
I agree. Yeah. And the whole Tartarian thing, there's like evidence, and there's like the red mercury and like different ancient ways to amplify. And there's mercury found under the pyramids of the gods in Mexico City. This is a little guy that I have right here, by the way, the yellow one. So yeah, I agree. There's definite evidence for power plants going with this kind of subject. Um, it's I think they do multiple. So here's also we found a little pyramid. Uh, can you see this image?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, the one we found, it has the capacity of a full-grown pyramid, which is amazing to me. It's heavy. It is so heavy. It also has a capstone, but it's not in this image. And we found it with two possible. It's an interesting alloy compound of like possible with copper, brass, maybe orichalcum. And it connects to the pyramid, so you can spiritually connect to the distance. It has a star connection to a star in the Taurus constellation, one of the horns called Alnath. It has a spiritual gateway that connects between that and commerce. Has a creational factory from 7D to 3D, and it's good at over 1 million things. Like, is overpowered. This is the underside of it. And here's some ETs in spirit form with some wings and a possible like. It could be looks like it's got cuneiform on it, samarium.
Right.
Maybe like a black hole kind of magnetic field thing going on because it looks kind of 3D. Might be
Right.
holding a planet. There's a bunch of the planets in the solar system around in a UFO. Here's also. Oh wait. Let me go back to the other aspects of the pyramid. I'll go back to that. Guy holding up maybe another dimension, maybe something that goes into your topic of like hiding out into other dimensions with a venerated staff and orb of light, sun energy overlooking onto the creatures of Earth and sustenance of the Earth and that kind of thing. Here's the other side, and it has a eye of Horus and Egyptian images on it, which connects Egypt with Mexico. And we actually dug this up ourselves, so we know it's like real. And I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. And it's I love it every day. I'm like wearing those rings. Very powerful stuff. Let's see. I'll go back to this. You see this one? It's got a UFO, like maybe staircase, tree of life with an obsidian mirror, tree, corn. And there's a whole thing with the corn being given by the gods to the Mexican people. Many different colors of it, meaning the different nations. Venerated headdress guy. Guy beaming from Saturn in spirit form, handbag, bunch of planets around or orbs. The squid-looking guy, another one with wings. I've seen this image around. It might be fire plasma. There's a guy with legs and wings. A guy with nothing. A short little guy, and Nubis type of Canis major humanoid canine species with wings, and they're all influencing DNA. Let's see. Oh,
Listen,
here's
pump the brakes. This is a full disclosure situation, Sean. I know it's casual for you. We got a whoa. Okay, so basically, when you showed that one image where it has the Christed cross in the center or the galactic cross, that reminds me. I think that's portal transportation. What I'm getting when I see the planetary alignments and the portals. Back when the portal system on this planet still was operational, when the pyramids actually still worked and the grid was up, I'm seeing portal to portal jumping. Domestic portals, my guides kind of explained to like this: jumping from one pyramid to another, domestic travel. You can go from Giza to maybe South America, portal to portal travel. Okay. International travel, the 12 actual true stargates on the planet, which are all highly monitored and you really can't even get in there, though usually under a military base or guarded by a military base. Those are international. That means you're going from planet to planet. In some of those portals, even go far deeper than that. I know, that on Gaia, Emery Smith talks about the old portal system and how the alignment has to be proper to actually use the portal. Like the planets have to be in a certain alignment, then you can travel. It's almost like a map. The planets are in a certain other location, then you can travel. It wasn't like I can just go whenever I want. It could have been during certain summer or the solstices. It could have been during solar events or different specific moon cycles. But this type of information was known of when you could use that portal and when it was dormant for safe travel, mind you. But yeah, so that species, I don't know if you want to call it a tall white or a gray with the cone heads. It could have been a different species, but we've seen, when I see that pointed head, it reminds me of the old Catholic Church with the popes with the
right.
hats, and those guys have pointed heads. And why are they trying to cover this up? What's the deal with the staff that dude's holding in that picture and the same weird staff that the Pope was holding? Not to blow this up out of proportion, but there's a lot of similarities. You know what I mean? There's a lot of similarities with an advanced technology that was down here. If it's covered in that much mud, how much mud did you say it was underneath that tree?
Like a meter, but it was on a hill, so it's got
It was
like
on a hill,
slide
so
on.
we're saying stuff that was covered up in the last great mud flood is what we're talking about. So the last mud, why is everything covered in that much soil? Well, when was the last mud flood? Why did they have to dig out San Francisco? Well, why did they, what are these different pictures of even in these buildings downtown in different cities? Why are there windows at the basement floor? Because that's not the basement. You know what I mean? So what I'm getting to, especially at the Capitol building, especially the one in Austin, Texas, Jan talks about that in one of our deals, was that, yeah, they were digging out. There's cobblestone streets underneath the ground, 20, 30 feet down. They just didn't go down that deep. They just went right ahead. Or all of the archaeological digs they're finding in Greece and in Turkey, where they dig down 20 feet and there's perfect artwork, stone floors that are very artisan under the ground. So I think that may be the answer of why all that stuff's buried in the sand. I think it was part of the last mud flood, the last real reset. And a lot of that knowledge, I mean, if the Mexican government is telling you, hey, we're not going to show this stuff, right? Well, who's controlling that? Who's controlling that narrative and what is that? So you're really digging into some stuff that's been hidden from the public, know? All right. So,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, great resets of the past and art area and going deeper into all these ancient offshoots of pre-civilizations like Atlantis that take an ancient technology inherited by them and it kept going, or the inheritors of that tech and what they could do and build out of that. There's multiple races. Like I'm sure you've seen these type of handbags by the Anunnaki, and there's got some cuneiform on here. This one actually has a spirit being in it that looks like this, and it's got an interaction where it can be inserted into a slot of like a building. But yeah, there's multiple types of these, including ones that are like pocket dimension holders or time. Well, advanced technology sized down as at an ET race. This one's made as a veneration of something that we've seen now. Okay, I'll go. Let's see here. Yeah, that's that little guy that I have. Oh yeah. This is a big thing. Oh man, this is one of my more powerful objects that we found. And here you'll see multiple different ET types. So one is a mer person. So this is this one. The type of species some of them are related, though there are multiple colonization processes, and like some of them are genetic engineered to be seafaring, like this mer person, or on land, or be able to fly or go into interdimensional. So there's multiple iterations of a connected species of long skull. Maybe there's connections of Sirius, though I do read that the species is older than Sirius. There's also this cool symbol that I have not seen anywhere else. It's like the eye of Horus and Ra merged together. And here's a bird person. And I'll let's see if we can get that. Okay, yeah. You can kind of see the bird person right here. It's kind of upside down though. I'll get it for you all. And this might be an ant person, so it might be the water, air, kind of earth kind of thing going on. And here's a dog person. or a canine, and they Mayan and Aztec have like a dog god of the underworld and over death. It's kind of like Anubis, and they all got their symbols. And here's a more Anubis looking one with a staff. Here's the canine nose and ears and body, and it's got all these symbols and a kind of like a directional compass thing. But I would love to hear what you think is inside this looks like. So I want you to, I barely showed this to anyone. So you're like one of the first people I've showed it to. But tell me what you think this looks like.
Tiene otras piedras, es lo que veo.
What do you think this looks like?
Oh, goodness gracious. That is right out of a sci-fi movie, dude. I mean, that's just like Alien. That's just like the Covenant that they made. I mean, that's like the ET species that we see, you know, Predator versus Alien. Like there's a little baby alien sitting right there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, I don't know what else to. I mean, minus, you know, the movie Spaceballs, you know, John Candy, you know, the thing's coming right out of your stomach at lunch, you know. Yeah, that is I don't really have words. I mean, that is incredible. Listen, that is incredible. Okay, so
I'll show you it on camera too.
so when you
this
have
is one of the more powerful objects that I have, and yeah, this and like that over 500-year-old church that has xenomorphs on it, made me really
dude,
question
I'm getting
what
something,
the hell.
bro. I just got something else. Okay, hold that. Let me explain something to the public. Now, I know Julia Common speaks about how, you know, the ET invasion has already started, right? If you've ever seen the new bacteria and parasites that are in human beings, right, that are inhabiting us, they look very ET, very alien looking. Here's my question. With those 4 species on the top of that jar, obviously that's some sort of an alliance. That's some sort of a group, whether that be the Orion group, which sounds very right on the money, just to be completely honest with you. Those 4 species seeded, hence that in your hand, seeded something on this planet. And now that we are now educated enough here on this planet to actually know what nanotechnology is, to know what, you know, the very small, the parasitic, you put stuff under a microglass, you're like, oh my God, that is crazy. That's inside of my body. That's inside of these suits. You know, what if there was a time before that type of, let's just say, parasitic infestation took place? Because we all know that parasites can control what the human mind thinks about. You even have parasites that will tell you when to eat sugar or certain foods, or even, you know what I mean? Like there's things that actually work with these suits. So what I'm getting to is that before this whole thing went nano, this reset, is that before everything, the technology got to a place where it could all be hidden in plain sight, that people could walk around and be completely oblivious to what's living inside of their bodies, or the chemicals or alchemical connections and the quantum entanglement through different bacteria and frequencies which are coexisting inside of a human body that are actually communicating to different species, races, organizations, groups, empires. I mean, what if the craziest thing is to hide the microphone inside of the suit? You guys think that right now, you know, your cell phone spying on you, or them even recording and watching this video, let's just say, is a big deal? Nay. What if I said you take that, you know, 1,000, 100,000 years into the future, people are wearing those microphones inside of their body and they're completely inert or, you know, they have no idea. They are very small in scale. So you ask me what I think that is, the inception of something where other groups or ETs got involved in this planet other than the ancient builder race or the Guardians or the ones that maybe originally invented this suit. And you're talking about other types of species involving their DNA and their connections into this area. And maybe that's their stamp in that timeline, which happened before the mud flood, of one that was very prevalent in South America. That's kind of what my take is on it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'd say there's a lot of impact from multiple races adding their. So I found that it's if you want to go to xenomorph with this, there's two concepts. One, there are parasitic aspects or weaponized races that are genetically engineered to take over worlds. I would say this is a older version of the genetics taken. That would be the concept for a weaponized race for this. That's more intelligent. It seems more overpowered spiritually. It is dangerous, but it seems very intelligent to where it's able to interact with peace. There are like genetically engineered races to take over worlds, kind of like in Aliens or the Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt with the white spikes as an example. And I've read into the future timelines where they keep trying to take people's DNA and then make clones of them and send them the clones to the future to fight an alien invasion on different colony worlds that we have in the future. And those are mostly insectoids. They're bred various types to be make it so that it can make overwhelming numbers, and they're very dangerous. This is less of a problem with that. I've found this is one of the more powerful objects I've had. Besides the Vatican and Catholic like blankets that anchored and invaded into the Mesoamerica during the Spanish conquistadors, that then anchored and attached to many different people, places, things that have power generators of different types and are stealing from them. When it was the first thing that I was dehaunting this from, I learned depossession and purification and exorcism, and that I do that for these objects. It was getting targeted for having various overpowered generators in it. It even has fractals of like thousands of this type of race in a divinity form, and all these species have added their genetics to us. So if you're like putting on the
bro, do you know what that thing looks like? Do you really want to know what that looks like? You guys ever heard of the Vril? You heard of the One Eye Express, where all the guys have their one eye covered, and the Vril attacks that little reptilian attachment attaches to their right retina?
Ooh, I've heard of that.
Hold that up. Hold it up. Okay. That very, very small, and maybe that group was part of the reptilian Orion agenda. Okay. And maybe that they're still using that sort of technology right now to keep this entire planet under control. And that every single person you guys have seen in the Illuminati that have that weird black eye, when they get that thing attached to their optic nerve, maybe that you literally have the visual representation of what that was, dude, of what that is. Like all of those races came together and created that to now be their looking glass into the biology of this planet. So I think we're uncovering a lot more. But when I keep looking at that thing, I'm like, that looks like a reptilian vril worm that they attach to the back of your right retina, straight up.
Yeah, it could be. I'm finding
like a reptilian. Bro, look at its face, dude. Look at his face. Mix a gray and a reptilian and tell me and put a tail on it. What does that look like to you?
Yeah, it could be. I've seen multiple. I'm tuning into multiple offshoots of this type of species, and then beings get its genetics and then weaponize it. So it's probably a lot of that. Though there's an original species that's more nicer. This is one of the more overpowered ones. I got 3 classifications for artifacts I found. Type 3 is made by humans venerating something they witnessed, or some type of hominid species in the past. Type 2 is a type of hybrid that's made to interact on this world, or other worlds, that has their genetics changed or hybridized with us. Type 1 is made by ETs. This one is type 1, actually made by ETs, very overpowered. This one's a type 3. It was made by some type of humanoid that's venerating an ET like this. Now, if you're wanting to, like, what kind of ET is it? Is it nice or is it negative? I've been having conversations with the ETs that are venerating these artifacts. A lot of them are nice. I have one that's more negative. I am kind of quarantining that. This one, there's a species listed in the Alien Russian Species book that was leaked by the KGB. It's got over 60 plus races listed. Some of them are kind of messed with and added and edited, but this one looks very suspiciously like the shining ones listed in that book, which I'd say it's one of the versions. There's also the Tuatha in Celtic mythos and various other beings that shine brightly when they appear to you. And this one glows, of course, in the UV, which Mike told me that he has a theory that when the ETs show up, artifacts start glowing, kind of thing, which might be a rare energy that they emit along with UV light. Now, this one emits rare energy. The upgrades it has, it first started emitting mental energy, emotional radio-based telepathy. These artifacts, if you want, through your higher self, through filter, you can trade with these ETs that I'm showing off to you guys in your commerce in your higher self. They emit things like emotional radio-based telepathy, longevity, plasma body, teleportation, generated energy for a type of manipulation of matter, an ancient pre-source gut brain energy used to access the hologram like a computer, etheric creation manipulation, mana creation control, out of phase storage, which is an ability I didn't know existed, where you can put a physical object and put it in your field out of phase, and it's like stored there. Interdimensional resonance, travel, location of themselves to elsewhere. It's kind of like bilocation, just different physics. Spatial place connect of two places together. This other one for the upgrades for everyone. This one emits liver chi shield, which is an emission from the liver organ. That's like a chi shield that surrounds your whole body and protects you as a layer. Other organs can do this, but this species is good at it. It's really good at reality bubble magic, DNA lineage, library access to libraries of 18 galaxies worth of information. And it's got a connection to its species version of a dragon, which is like a reality. It's not the same thing as Draco. They're like wannabe dragons. Dragons are like founder races, light, dark, and neutral. They're programs for reality. They create reality bubbles and dreams. They ferry souls between places, and everyone's got a reality bubble around them that is connects to the quilt of reality bubbles, and it got a consciousness that's like an elemental hierarchy interaction that's similar to a dragon, and that a lot of dragons don't need bodies. But 4,000 rate plus of them made DNA lineages that made the dragon families. A lot like China and Japan got the white and red dragon family, and they say they hail from that type of royalty, but there's a lot to that. And then I got this guy here.
Oh, wow.
And this guy's like some aventurine or jade.
Yeah, it looks like jade. Yeah.
It looks like he's drumming a drum, or like got a giant hamburger or something. But he's got a smiley face. There's him around. He's pretty nice.
Cool. So back to what I'm getting, Sean, with some of these things. I keep asking, like, what was the point of this? Or what was this interaction? And basically some of they call them harvester species. Okay. There's a group on the night side that, part of the Confederation of Planets, those that come in and do genetic tinkering. Our souls obviously are eternal, but the actual tinkering of the human genome based upon their own control mechanisms, they have a specific agenda. And just to be clear for everyone on Earth looking at these, I'm getting a 50-50. I go, were these beings actually good? They're going like this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was more of like I'm really getting like almost like that entire population down there that was isolated after the families broke up from Atlantis and the 6 families traveled and they created a new civilization. I don't know if it was the original OG ones, the Anunnaki, the real Sumerian gods, the real guys that actually shared their DNA to make these suits. These feel like engineers that showed up after the fact and that also wanted to add their DNA to the experiment that was already going on this planet. That's
like
you know what I mean? Like they were like, the radio, look at that dude. Oh my God.
So I'd agree with you. I'd say if you were to read them with your body, you'd get neutral. And that's mostly because they're not easy to nail down like various races offshoots. one, you'll go into the negative ones are mostly enslaved. Like the Draco Empire have captured these guys and many other DNA, and they have an enslavement race of many types, like grays or some with long skulls in their programming. A lot of these species also have time travel tech, so they got in at some point and then even went back in time out of their genetics. We're from what I've scanned, we're a super hybrid experiment of over 10,000 plus alien races, light and dark. So we're like the merging of those two angels, devils, and plus. So and with every species, there's light, dark, and neutral. Most of the dark I've seen are enslaved. The neutral don't really want to mess with things because we're dramatic as hell. The light ones do have a very overpowered effect, and that's why I think some of the ones that I've been interacting with these are venerated because they did something of impact that was worthy of being venerated. Though the species as a whole is all over the place. Some are overpowered. So here's an example of a staff that I have, and here's an ET with also a staff in his hand. So it's interesting. Over the middle, so he's like above the guy that's below, which might be Olmec based on the face, though it could be Aztec, Toltec, or a Mayan. And then under that goes to a canine, which goes to the underworld, which they have a deity for that. And that ends with a spear. And this is overpowered in a lot of defense techniques that I've been using. Here's another cool one for you that I barely showed. A little ET guy in a coffin. Now I was like, oh, because he's not so happy. This might be negative. But I after clearing it and working with it, it was fairly respectful. So I'll go look into that. So here's the ET kind of form on the back. They got a lot of planets, a UFO, Saturn, a lot of the planets here, and then that same plasma kind of symbol, some triangle below, and another guy with.
Can you hold that? I know what that symbol is.
Oh yeah,
right there. What you said. It's right in the center. I came down from the stars, and I see the spiral down to the physical plane. That symbol is as above, so below. So I came from the top down. It's on a 2D image, but that would be coming down a torus field or coming down a portal. Like I'm from the upper above, and I came down to the physical plane. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll add that to things.
You guys, we're watching this live, so we're all watching this together. Like I'm like, oh my god, what is?
Right. So here's the little guy inside, long skull. He's pretty overpowered. He's got different abilities than the other guys. So that's why I think there's different offshoot venerations and DNA of these type of races. I'm going to see if I can find what I wrote on notes with him. Oh yeah, here it is. So the coffin itself, overpowered in defense. Like there's like spells on it, safety, defense, fortress. It's getting even more powerful because it needs to defend this guy that represents and has an entanglement with the being that's venerated. This I also read was a third type, which is made by and venerated by
that
humans.
Reminds me actually of female, dude. I think that's the male energy over the feminine. I think that's a female. I don't think it. Yep.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff it has is evolution, creation, spirit protectors, astral castle, rain summoning, which is very useful at that time. Reality doctor, which can repair reality, out of phase storage again, telekinesis, pyrokinesis, aerokinesis, life energy and life extension, teleportation. And it's like an aspect of super strength, but it's more of changing the weight of an object, like in geomancy to move the blocks for pyramids and stuff, which eventually leads to that overpowerment. And
I have a quick question. Do we know the type of stone that they are using to carve these?
I do not. Various types. The ones that are fluorescent, we have found different ones, different color fluorescence. That opened up a whole new world in that called fluorescent minerals. And there's a lot more than I thought there were. and some of them are made entirely of the fluorescent mineral, and some are like have it powdered in to the hieroglyph
Well,
aspects.
here's my question. I mean, we think that these stones are taken out of nature. I feel that maybe some of these elements were smelted together, similar to how you make glass. And especially, have you ever seen that? I'm sure you have. You know those stones that you hit and they go bing, they make sound. Bing. So what I'm thinking is back to in the days of the Vimyana, right back in India, 7,000 years ago, where they had the stones could float. They had different frequencies and different stones and different alchemical processes to actually levitate objects based upon their frequency, similar to the Tibetan monks that knew they have those big trumpets and how they used to, with a very low frequency, levitate stone for their temples and whatnot. They haven't lost that sort of knowledge yet. My thinking is that a lot of the stuff that we are seeing, I think, have been the same way that we make concrete, right? How we mix different stones together and we harden it and make concrete. I think a lot of these stones, why they may be, I'm sure if we did an analysis of those stones, they're like, there's 15 different types of rock in this thing. It's not one particular rock. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, someone smelted that together. You know what I mean? Someone created that or cast that. They cast that, they pour it in the stuff, and they break the cast, because I think there's too much going on in those artifacts, especially the ones that have the bronze and the silver. Because I make organite, dude. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there in my own shop for 15 years making. Who knows what my stuff's going to look like in 1,000 years? Like, would it completely petrify into something that they don't know what it is? Because you're mixing 15 different, 25 different things together to get a certain output. So I think that species and those groups definitely mastered that. Whatever that may be, I definitely see a kiln, whether it be using solar energy with those huge 30-foot in diameter mirrors that can get as hot as the sun, and melt stone. I definitely see they were using a different type of technology to accomplish that. Man, the stuff you have, listen, calm down. We have a conference. This is like some world disclosure shit. You're just casually, hey, check this out. What you're just pulling stuff out of the woodwork. It's insane. Like,
And we got more for you for the conference that we're not sharing.
listen, I don't know. In 1,000 years, what is that going to look like?
Wow.
You know what I mean? I made that from scratch. Yeah, I made that from scratch. Yeah, I cast it.
Beautiful.
Little Ganesh, my boy. Mwah. But yeah, I'm just trying to say, I think we're looking at different technology, because I definitely have seen different artifacts where it looks like the people that came after the fact, when the gods were there, or we had real interaction between the species on this planet. There was a point where real ETs were coming down in ships. Have you seen Chichen Itza? It looks like a landing platform. You know what I mean? There's certain pyramids that will almost look like they're made for a craft to come down and land on top of it, right? So what I'm thinking is, then we have like the real artifacts, or even those made when those beings walked the earth, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Then we have the copies, you know what I mean, of people that were, that's exactly. You know what I mean. They tried, they did their best, and they made their little whittles, and they tried to copy what was the original ones. And my brother, I think you got some originals, dude.
I agree.
I think you got some originals, bro, for sure.
Yeah, this one gives off the energy of the type 1, which is made by ETs, and a lot of these are venerated made by humans. They do have the spiritual entanglement with what they're venerating, though. But yeah, I'd agree with you. Yeah, they're different iterations of these, and what they're seeing and what the skulls they're finding. And I'll go into this skull that we found. Yeah. And I've been to a bunch of hundreds of pyramids around South America by now. Oh my God, they're amazing, overpowered, different energies, different things that they do.
And just so that I want to also, for your own, protection and whatnot too, Sean. I've seen thousands of these artifacts come through the U.S. Just to be clear, this is not the only dig site. These things I've seen, you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of people that, and they're already in the States. There are people, I remember 4 or 5 years ago, there was a huge dig in Mexico, and I know that they were buying them. One of the people I know, they were approached, and the guy bought every single artifact he had for his own private museum. So what I'm trying to tell everyone, if this might be the first time you guys are seeing this stuff, no, this has been going on for decades, where they're finding these types of artifacts in foreign locations, foreign countries, and then people are personally purchasing them for their own museums or for real museums, mind you. But it's a little interesting that why wouldn't the Mexican government create a rad museum and put all of these artifacts in it? Now, I know in Peru, with the skulls, they have their own there's a museum that was, founded with the big skull. They actually have the skulls with the orange hair, you know what I mean? Still attached to it. So it's just, this whole movement is disclosure. I just want to be real. Like, the whole thing that we're trying to do for the planet is, this is real stuff. This is disclosure. Disclosure is just not about, okay, the U.S. government has anti-gravitic technology, which they've had for over 100 years. Okay, that's one layer of disclosure. You know what I'm saying? There's other layers of disclosure of, like, hey, how about the other beings, the older races, and other last times we had real interaction on this planet 1,000 years ago? Because what's about to go down, hopefully, we'll say hopefully, but they're talking about interaction in 2026, 2027, right? We're trying to open up the world's mind to, hey, you guys, this isn't the first time these beings have been here. You know what I mean? There is a history and a historical data and artifacts that predate, right, that these beings have been here before. This is not to be a shock and awe campaign. Rather, if we knew the truth, a lot of these things would be, I think, for the main public, to be a little less in fear because, oh, they're coming back. Oh, it's their time. Oh, if we knew, hey, every 2,228 years, like clockwork, we get interaction, and we track that through the different planetary alignments and what's going on this planet, this whole thing would be a lot more casual. And I'm just trying to share with you, Sean, and the whole planet, is that our point of sharing these things is to go, oh, I've seen that before, or, oh, Rion and Team Light and Sean, they already talked about that, or, oh, yeah, this isn't the first time. So the main reason being, we don't want our narrative or people hoodwinked or directed into a state of fear, when rather this is more of a natural thing that takes place every cycle. I'm sorry that no one told you about it in the Western world. And I'm sorry that the only place you can read about it is in Sanskrit, in a closet, in a Tibetan monastery, where they have every single written documentation of every single time since the Library of Alexandria was burnt down, which it wasn't. They just stole all the paperwork and burnt the building down. Well, I'm getting to full disclosure is actually knowing who you are, where we come from as a group, as humans, as a species, as souls, and really kind of step into the knowingness of who we are. Because once you know, there's no more fear. You're like, oh, they're coming back. Cool. Maybe this time they can bring us some better toys. I don't know. Bring us back some better toys. What I'm trying to say is, like, well, hopefully this interaction this time will be in a more balanced manner. I also want to say something, too, for all you guys kind of freaking out. Because when you show that symbol, Sean, you're very used to this. You're a spiritual dude. Listen, for a normal person staring at that, that's not normal, okay? I know you're like, hey, it's in my sock drawer. Listen. I got, listen here. Me and you are on a different, there's people are going to be watching like, oh my God, there's real ET artifacts. I can't believe it. No. Yeah, yes, there are. What we're trying to explain to you guys is this. The sooner you can open your mind and your belief system to be able to process upper dimensional true history, the real history of Earth, the more you can open your mind to that possibility, the less you're going to go into fear in the next 600 days when you think about certain things. And I also have to say this about all the races. 1,000 years ago, when those those confederation, let's just say, species interacted with us, they may have had a certain agenda. Okay? It's been 1,000 years. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, different species also evolve. Maybe their motivation is different now and more benevolent now, and that we're all here to help one another now. The Galactic Federation of Worlds and the Earth Alliance has done a very good job in bringing peace onto this planet. And you guys are seeing that in a geopolitical way of there's big changes in the governments on this planet and the financial system. What I'm trying to remind everyone is as above, so below. Okay. So as we kind of move forward together in our knowingness and we start remembering our true history, to also pay attention to the same guys that may have been the bad guys 1,000 years ago, right, may not be the bad guys now. So I just want to be real with that. Like there's a bigger picture here of what we're really disclosing. And yeah, there could have been some negative connotations back in the day, but right now it may be different. That's all I'm trying to say. There may be something a little different now where that was then. Now we're all kind of, raising our frequency and we're seeing eye to eye, and that's no longer the case. That's all. Because some people do go into fear when they see things, Sean. I know it's casual for you, but I was trying to say, hey, no, that stuff is real. So.
It's a really good point, and I love how tapped in you are with these subjects. It's awesome. Yeah, I'd agree that light, dark, and neutral of each species, and some have changed sides, and some have been enslaved. A lot of big incursions from the dark, stealing overpowered abilities from the light, and then using time travel to go back and fuck with species, and then caused time incursions on them. And then a lot of the species coming here to be a part of the human DNA hybrid, super hybrid experiment, to put their genetics in here, because it's like we're a garden, and the better we do, we start resolving their problems. So then it resolves the time loops and the hairball around their timelines, and they start resolving. We even are an empathy trap for the evil aspects that put their genetics in us, to where we're bringing, as we heal ourselves and we're bringing love to them, they start changing. We're even able to change their whole timeline. To where less evil incursions came back in time. It's more protected, less choice points that were manipulated by the dark, and then protected to where there are more points where evolution of love and connectivity, and then beyond their own species, could happen. I agree.
I couldn't agree more, dude. But I'm saying, like I said, there's a bigger, it's almost like you're showing the tip of the iceberg, right? But I'm going, okay, now let's take a look at what that looks like as everything has changed, because everything happens for a reason, right? You just found these artifacts. These artifacts have just kind of really been known about a decade, maybe before. And some of the things I know that some of the guys, when they were really on the hunt for those crystal skulls in Bolivia, when they walled off the whole area because they knew they were in there, the whole point is that utilizing old technology is also having to deal with the consciousness of where it was at that time. So what I've noticed is a lot of beings that were on the night side are no longer on the night side. I also met a lot of really cool reptilians that aren't about the control shit. You know what I mean? They're like, hey man, we're all trying to evolve and make this jump together. So I'm trying to unify the field in this, because sometimes when a human will see an ET artifact, they instantly go, what is that? It doesn't look like us. Well, ladies and gents, on this planet, yes, we look human, but outside of this place, there are many different species. So I just want to remind everyone, it's more like a bar scene in, Guardians of the Galaxy, where you walk in to get a Perrier and there's 15 different species sitting there, also getting a beverage, also enjoying time with their friends and talking shop and, joking with one another. But not all beings are going to be wearing the same covering or the same suit you are. You know what I mean? I just want to be real, because the sooner you can kind of get that, like, oh, so that's what they look like on that planet. Yeah, dude, their atmosphere is mostly nitrogen. Oh, that's why they have copper blood and you have iron blood. That's why they're blue bloods. I'm like, yeah, because where they come from, they have a different genetic makeup. That would make sense if you were on that planet. Oh, so it just needs to be a lot more. It makes more sense than we go into a state of fear, because that is going to slow us down in our evolution if you go into fear. With that being said, my brother, what are you going to be speaking about at the conference? Listen, you're killing me with the objects. You got to, every time you do that, I'm like getting sucked into a wormhole. Okay, what else you got? Okay, we got more. We got more. Okay, what we got?
Yeah, I'll just show you one more, and then I want to go full into the conference with you. And yeah, for people out there, no reason to be in fear. A lot of these are friendly, because they see us. If we do well, their species heals. So and a lot of the people incarnating here as humans are like overpowered races, like the brave beings from other species incarnating here that are like royalty in different places.
As humans, by the way, as humans, yeah.
And a lot of these species that I have artifacts for are still here. They're in inner Earth. Some are long living, some died, some are in stasis pods waiting for some future event. Here's a cool little thing though, and then we can go on to the conference because I want to talk about that.
Es un cráneo. Wow.
I know that voice.
This is cool.
Whoa.
Forest skull. Wow.
So like freeze it to show the images. Here's a type of long skull, kind of gray looking thing with wings, and it's got DNA helix in it. Here's an Anubis right here.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
There's like a mer person under here. I got the skull with me, so I'll show it with you. It's got like a fish tail right there, and it's wrapping around.
We can see that
Here's a UFO
it has
right here.
the knots. How I have been explaining about how the brain functions.
I knew that was Isa.
A very specific
I hear that
knots
voice.
we
I was
can
like, I know
do
that voice.
The DNA, and also by raising our Kundalini. And there are some very specific energetic circuits that ethically ignite through our plasma body that can ignite our pineal gland and the full potential in our body. It's a matter of not and a not. I've been doing this
And
for it.
anything else on there? Okay, we got that. I'll show you it on the camera right now.
Dude, hold on one second. Listen. Do you know how you guys have we have laptops, and some people have like custom laptops, and they put like stickers and shit on them. You know what I mean? Like they get like their own little laptop covering. It could be like a Super Saiyan, right?
Yeah.
This is just what I got in my gut. I'm like, dude, it's an old crystal computer. Back in the day, we used crystals to store data.
I love
Right?
that.
Right? And that's someone who owned their computer. That's someone's laptop, dude. And what it is they did their own artwork on their laptop to personalize it for them. I just got like, how? Because if I was an ET, why would I make this? Well, it's a laptop. It's a quartz crystal computer. It stores, 1 7-inch Lemurian can store 7 teraflops of information. So there's a technology that's missing. That's probably some sort of, sound, light, laser, deal that would hit that crystal, and you could store. Okay, here's all my movies. Here's all my ship logs. Here's all the shots of me and the wife walking on Earth. But it's almost like when I saw that, the first thing I got was, oh no, that is someone's personal crystal laptop, and that is the artwork that they put on. And again, I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to tell you that's what I saw, because it looked very personalized. Did it not? It looks like that was someone's. Dude, show them. Yeah. Oh my god.
So here we cleaned it off so that it was like dirt filling in between, but and it's different. The eyes are different than the rest, but it's still got. If we can shine it right, the ETs there, the DNA. Let's see if I can show everything aspect of it. So the UFOs on this side. I'm trying to find the exact angle. Oh yeah, there's that UFO. And some various beings here. Let's see here. So here's a skull of a the angles here of ET, and then it's got this tail that wraps around jaw, ends in this fish tail right here. If you can see that with the light. Yeah, these are overpowered skulls. Oh my god. After we got this and cleared it off and we depossessed it, cleared it of the Spanish contingent, we got attacked by a bunch of entourage with the Vatican and Lucifer. So I can tell you these crystal skulls are a threat to Lucifer and their like hierarchy and stuff, or the thing that's making Lucy evil, whatever that is that made him fall. So these have a lot of overpoweredness of it. It has a consciousness. After we cleared it, it contacted me like really hard. Like if you ever get a blast of, like if you ever get somebody blow air into your ear. It felt like that. And then it took a while for me to translate it because it had encryption on the telepathy. But when I translated it, it was asking me why I was activating it and empowering it, and why it was being brought out at this time of like great conflict. And then I told it I didn't really have any agenda with it. I wanted to be its friend, and I would protect it, and that it was free to do what it wanted. And I asked what it had in goals, and it listed like 32 things. 20 of them had to do with humanity, which was awesome. Mostly like gearing our evolution towards a type 5 civilization, whatever that means. One towards Earth, which was bringing Earth to homeostasis. And then 11 things for a collective consciousness of various crystal skulls. I don't think there's just 13 at this point. I got two really giant ET skulls, crystal skulls. Yeah, I think there's a lot more of them all over the place, and not just Belize or Oblivion. The things it wanted for humanity were to help evolve humanity, amplify their ascent back up to higher dimensions. Then it went into opening DNA. It seems to see it as an antenna and like a big amount of ability to receive different energies. Greater love, tech, and as well finding each other's greatest love interest, lifespan, sovereignty, freeing and empowering the soul, knowledge, peace, and amplifying goodness, spatial travel, which I liked a lot, and that was cool, healing, source connection, being able to see more like other places, realms, astral, etc., remembering who we are, freeing us from mind control, immunity to mind control, and then amplifying the mind's capabilities is the list that I've been able to translate that it wants to do. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fucking help you with that. So I'm going to help these guys get more and more empowered to help humanity rise, and I'm going to make them more safe. But yeah, there's all various types.
Yeah, no. When the 13 skulls were in Sedona at goodness gracious, the Angels, I don't know, Angels conference. Goodness, I want to say 7-8 years ago. I was there, and one of the guys let me take one of the crystals home so I could connect with it. And I was sitting there with it, and the one thing it was telling me about, what I kept getting, was the visual of the black pyramid ships fighting the golden pyramid ships. So we're talking about the pyramid wars back in the day. And it showed me that how he was rescued. He was put on the back of a speeder. There was a being that was blue, about 12 feet tall, riding one of those speeders that you see in Star Wars over the sand dunes. The pyramids were in the background, and he was in the back satchel, like on a motorcycle, right? But it's a speeder. And he was that's how he escaped, or whoever took him. Dude had 4 fingers, was blue, 12 feet tall, had some necklaces and some garb on, but it was like they were under attack and they took it. So I'm almost positive that those are crystal computers. And the thing too to also remember for everyone out there, that a quartz crystal is oscillating 78,000 times per millisecond. So that crystal that he's holding in his hand is oscillating 78,000 times per millisecond. That's why crystals can exist not only in the physical, but in the higher dimensions. So the highest we got when that guy walked the earth, let's just say if that was a dude, because you said he wants to be a class 5 civilization, right? Well, we're working on becoming a class 1 civilization, and I'll actually get the chart and I'll insert it now into the video. Class 1 is like, I believe, interstellar. You figured out basic things. I believe that class 2, you have harnessed at 100% of your local star's energy output. It's like, it's all about power and how much energy, right? Class 3 is where my guides just told me was the height of Atlantis was class 3. So if that guy's talking about a class 5 civilization, we're talking about we're talking about the origins of the Anunnaki star systems and above. We're talking about a much higher evolved species for a class 5. And I believe there is a list, and I will put that list and I'll insert that into. Does he have a name?
Not yet. I'll ask. Thanks for bringing that up.
Hey.
Our conversation's been
Okay,
mostly
you want to
good.
know something about crystal skulls? I'll tell you little secrets because I got a bunch of them. Okay, here's a secret about a crystal skull. If you guys even get them on eBay, you get your little rock crystals. You know, you order some cool skulls off eBay, or you have your own. Um, Shamans back in the day would work with skulls or crystal skulls, let's just say, but it's because the consciousness or the shape of a human skull, that consciousness, it's for storage of data. That's like it's sacred geometry. It stores consciousness. Okay, that's the shape that stores consciousness. That's why all of our skulls, no matter who you are in this universe, you can tell that's someone's skull. You know what I mean? It's a very specific look. Okay, no matter what the shape is. Okay, crystal skulls in general, for me, I have to give each of my crystal skulls, you can give it a name if you'd like, but really I have to give it a purpose or a job. I have to give it something to do. It doesn't like to just sit there. And some crystal skulls are very, very powerful. So it's kind of like you really have to talk to them, connect with them, let them know what you would like, and have a dialogue. And just let them know they're home, they're safe, no matter what crystal skull I've ever received or been gifted. I always show it 100% appreciation. I clean it with my own two hands. I put it in the soap water. I clear it. And I said, no, it's almost like no matter what trauma you've gone through, you're with me now. And you have to remember, these are things, we're just stewards of these crystals. That crystal skull is probably thousands of years old, right? So just remember, there are stewards of these crystals. You are now the steward in your lifetime of that crystal. You know what I mean? Whenever you name him. So, and then you will also be, gifting that maybe to your son or maybe to, to someone else. So it's a very important thing to be a crystal skull steward. And you should take that responsibility with all due respect and really do appreciate it because they are
Absolutely.
conscious. Those are sentient beings. That is not a joke. Those are true sentient beings that have feelings and are here to assist you. So that's all I'd like to say about that. Confidence, my brother. You're killing it. Yeah, it's much. Hey, that's your bro, and you got
Ask
to
it
talk.
tonight.
You're like, what do
I'll
you
let
need?
you know.
You know.
I'll let you know. I'll ask it tonight. Yeah, so very important big shifts happening on the planet. Uh, we can like help bring them out more and more with our choice and action. And one of the big things that we can all do is team up and unite and teach each other wisdom. And Rion's doing a big, powerful thing in that in chess move and many different layers and levels. And one of the big things he's doing is the Rise of the Guardians conference. So it's very important that people that are taking this seriously and want to take up more of their power and who they are and remember and protect themselves, their family, the planet, and beyond to where we can shift to a golden, more and more better and better and better timeline. It needs people to step up. And this is the place to do it. Can you talk a little bit about this, Rion, for people?
Yes. Hi. Well, from this main inception, the Rise of the Guardians conference, I just want everyone to know, like, I was standing in the kitchen, totally chill. We just did Bastrop, the last solar event. We were there in Texas when it made the X in Texas. The first conference and the second conference that was in Texas, we were there as light beings representing the light, exactly where that took place. So, it's, months after that, I don't know how many months, 6 months after that. And listen, ladies and gents, I was pretty happy. I was chilling. I was like, hey, we did a good job. And then all of a sudden it was like, son, it's time to do a big conference in your hometown. And it's time to bring, really the Rise of the Guardian. So I kind of went on a hunt. I did the Contact at Sea conference. I did the Full Disclosure Now conference in Tampa. I went around and I went and I sat in people's lectures and I was really listening. And what I was really doing from a higher dimension, I was looking for my team members. You know what I mean? I found you. Hey, I found you in your little blue shirt outfit, your little suit. You got to see Sean in his suit, everyone. You're going to see Sean in his suit. And then Isa and Julia. And, I met some really gifted people. Yeah. That I was like, hey, this is my family. So when the idea of this conference came about, I did not even know. My guides tell me, I'm just let you guys know, I'm 100% in spirit. If my guides say you need to be there right now at 6, tomorrow at 6 a.m., I'm there. So with this conference, they chose the dates, March 29th. I didn't even know it was another solar event. Okay. They're just right on the money. That March 29th is the end of that, is the solar eclipse that's happening out here. The lunar starts on March 14th. The solar starts, March 29th. So that night when we're dancing together in the galactic prom, I kind of felt like it was a type of graduation. And I also kind of felt like for this financial reset that's about to take place, the beginning of the golden age, the reallocation of resources on this planet, I felt like I wanted to put together the A team of the people I actually want to work with in the future. I want the right frequency, the right heart, the right vibration, the right integrity, those that have already passed a lot of their tests, those from all walks of life with different disciplines. I always knew at Team Light that this was a team effort. We each have our own very specific discipline, and we're very good at it, just as Sean is, just as Issa is. And my thing is that you put all those people together in one place and we have a joint vision of what we want to bring to this earth, it will shift that much faster. So that's kind of my vision for it. And if you guys are coming, this is really something you're not going to want to miss. This is something to actually meet and greet all of us, to be here at this, point in time together in this incarnation, to give each other a hug, a handshake, hang out, have a couple words of wisdom amongst each other. But I really created something that's very special where we're all going to feel very supported and very loved in a very beautiful place, that being Sedona. It's one of the most spiritual places on the planet. And it's a very high speed out here. And maybe you guys in your life may have some questions of what to do with your life, or you're looking for some purpose, or you're looking for some direction. Come out to the conference, meet your family, and that may help you fast forward to some things that you may be focusing on, and Sean's going to do an amazing job. He's post-conference with Issa as well, and he's going to have a table there. He'll be there. You guys can meet and greet him with him. We have MUFON Television, who's also going to be there. Sean's going to be on getting interviewed there as well. We also have David Palmer with High Vibe TV. We also have Jimmy Church with Fade to Black Radio. I mean, we're putting everyone in one building to meet one another and get to the next level. And that's what I want for all my friends and family. You guys, I only want you guys to succeed. I only want you guys to do what you were meant to do on this planet. And I really just want to show the support that you have in the support system, to basically let your dreams become reality, because this planet deserves you to turn your gifts on. This planet deserves, a shot at true balance. And I even feel, even with these geopolitical changes on this planet, this is all setting us up for the new, and to be around a bunch of people that have the same intent and the same love in their hearts. So the Rise of the Guardians conference, March 29th, March 30th, is just that. So that's what I had.
I agree. And from what I've read into it, it's going to be a pivotal point changer for the timeline. If you ever played Pokemon as a kid, it's like a whole room full of rare candy. If you seen Dragon Ball Z, Hyperbaric Time Chamber, you're going to level up like crazy. It's going to change everything, including predictive models for your life as an individual. Upgrades to DNA, ET contact, psionics, abilities, going deeper in yourself, remembering many different triggers. Oh man, it's going to be huge. And the places of power around are going to light up. Now, I don't know everyone and what they're working on. Yeast is working on DNA upgrades, plasma body, and a lot of tech to evolve. So I'm assuming there's a hyper evolutionary process with people's presentations that will be there. Mine, I wanted Rion actually inspired what I'd be talking about, in that we feel we want to unite with our soul family. We want help. We want support. We want to help you guys. We want to help you grow so that you're strong enough to where you hold up the weights and challenges of life like nothing, and then where you can go into the extra credit to where you level up like crazy, and you're helping everyone on the planet, and then everyone holds up all this together, and all the weights of the world gets so much easier. And that we need more guardians on this planet.
Yes.
And it's not just being a guardian, it's more capability, more to bring your chess move of shining light of your heaven that you've perceived, experienced other lives, etc. here, and bringing that here. And we're going to give you the tools. My presentation teach you all these different methods of how where you elevate your spiritual technology to where you can protect the planet. You engage in the game of Earth to where it's like you get missions, you get level ups, you get all these type of things coming to you, beings talking to you, telepathy, all this stuff. It's so fun. You never get bored. And then the discoveries that you have, the secrets of the world. Oh, it's lovely. If I could compare my life to before I even found out that this stuff and how to do it. Oh my God, I'd be like, at some point I'd be like depressed in like such a high way if I wasn't able to do that. Now that I can, it's like all these arms, these wings came online, and if I had those chopped off, life isn't as beautiful as it is now. So we are wanting to brighten that, to bring that to life in every individual. You access your divinity, you access who you are, your greater DNA tech, and you make this world a better place. And we're going to bring that to you and teach you. And one of the only ways to do it, come to Rion's conference. Rise of the Guardian. Rise your guardian up. Become who you're meant to be. And we will all be there for you, supporting you, loving you, giving you the best life ever, and meet and have fun with us and dance. Dance like you're
I can't do it any better, bro. You're my hype man. Listen, it's what you were discussing is finding your purpose. When you're walking in spirit and you're actually walking on your life plan of what you signed up to do, right, or agreed to do when you came down here, the difference between who you were and who you're going to be is so drastic that I just hope that everyone on this planet actually gets to feel what it feels like to communicate with your higher self, to see with your third eye, to feel with your heart, to experience, contact and, every single night in your dream time. There's just something I really feel that is really paramount is just waking up humanity to the beauty of which they really are. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, come out to Sedona, March 29th, March 30th. We have post-conference with my brother Sean Bond. We have March 31st into April 1st. We have Vortex tours. We have night vision tours. We have dances. There's parties. I rented out the Humankind Center. We're going to have after hours every night. If you guys just feel like dancing to some awesome DJs and music, we have our Arturus Raw as one of our house DJs. And he'll also be there participating. He'll have a place there at the conference. And then we also have, Alexander Saul, another really great DJ. And obviously, Mr. Palmer, Leo King. I mean, he's a world famous DJ, and he has his astrology skills as well. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know we greatly appreciate you guys watching. And teamlightstore.com. We'll put all the links here for Sean's stuff and for the get those tickets. And we're about 2 weeks out, so hope to see you guys. Right?
Go to teamlightstore.com. Do it. Just do it. Make your dreams come true. You
want to be here.
Action. Do it.
Listen to Sean.
Let's be friends. See you guys there.
All right, man. I love you guys. Till next time. Peace.
We need your help to win this battle. Let's go.
Come on, Storm. Back to work. Let's hurry, okay? People are dying. See you down there.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary. They can only do